Uh, According to this, what in the latest vision, there is a note. I'll read that first, then we will see, we'll go to where we want to go. External renunciation of things and duties is of no use at all, for it is the internal craving for them that has to be abandoned. The busy life of the world need not bind any man if he has renounced the desires and cravings of things. Again, external renunciation of things and duties is of no use at all, for it is the internal craving for them that has to be abandoned. Now, here again, we have got now, if we look into this, the word external renunciation has come in. Now, external renunciation, and then there must be an internal renunciation also. So the main aim of everything, according to Papa, is the internal renunciation which should take place. And that was what he was trying to do when he went out first into the world, searching for it, when he decided to give up everything and leave. But then external renunciation is itself a very big task, and it is, and by he has explained it himself. In this, when I was looking at it, this was in the January 2023 vision. Alinda, a chapter, Papa has written what is this renunciation, what is external renunciation, all that various saints have said. So there is an article in that by Swami Sachidananda. Do sadhana at home till one becomes ready for the final plunge. He says, do sadhana at home till one becomes ready for the final plunge. So let's read what Sachidanand Ji is talking to us. Beloved Papa did not believe in the traditional initiation into the order of sannyas. He believed that it is a natural process in man, and one feels that he has great and intense dispassion to the things of the world, and equally or more intense aspiration to realize God, he can take to the order of sannyas. Again, here he is again touching about the same subject which was read just now. He says he believed that it is a natural process in man, and when one feels that he has great and intense dispassion to the things of the world, and equally or more intense aspiration to realize God, he can take to the order of sannyas. But he also used to add that one has such intention, dispassion, and aspirations to realize God, it is not really necessary to change the clothes. One can as well remain in white clothes and get the highest realization. Now, ಇದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋಕೆ ಟ್ರೈ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ, we are now, at least for me, what is happening is, I think what Papa is telling is that one has to realize him, and without realizing him, there is no end to this life of Janana Marana. And therefore, what we are trying to do today is that we want to do some sort of a sadhana that will help us to go to this level where there is dispassion starts within us. ಅದನ್ನೇ ತಿರ್ಗಾ ಮುಂದಕ್ಕೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಲೆಟ್ ಅಸ್ ಸಿ ವಾಟ್ ಹಿ ಫಸ್ಟ್ಲಿ ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂತ ನೋಡೋಣ. One can as well remain in white clothes and get the highest realization. In beloved Papa's case, he took to the order of sannyas, but he did not encourage sannyas for others except one, that is myself, that is Sachidanandaji. Though I did not ask him for sannyas, he asked me to take to the order of sannyas and gave me the cloth and the name. In a few other cases, he agreed, but they may adopt sannyas because they were persistent. Otherwise, he was telling everybody to lead the ordinary householder's life with the aspiration to realize God and practice sadhana at the same time. ಇವಾಗ ಇದನ್ನ ಈ ಸೆಂಟೆನ್ಸ್ಗಳು ನಾವು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್ ಆಗಿ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋಣ. ಲೆಟ್ ಅಸ್ ಟ್ರೈ ಟು ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ವಾಟ್ Papa and Swamiji are talking about. See, one thing is becoming very clear to us, that you may do whatever you want to do, but whatever we are doing, so-called practice of sadhana, so-called taking name of Ram Nam, so-called believing in Papa, so all this which we are trying to do is for reaching the ultimate goal. What is the ultimate goal? Is to become one with God. So, if that is clear to us, then let us, and here ಅದೇ ಇದನ್ನ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಇವಾಗ. Otherwise, he was telling everybody to lead the ordinary householder's life with the aspiration to realize God and practice sadhana at the same time. This is the key thing, that everyone who wants to become a sadhaka, wants to become a disciple of Papa, wants to, those who go to the ashram, those who want to follow, all this is for this end, to realize God and practice sadhana at the same time. Now that is the aim. Keeping that in aim, then we will be able to do whatever sadhana is to be done. And to that end, then we'll go back to this book, which is the latest one, which is also nothing but the Inquest of God. And we'll come to that at a stage. Now, let me finish this. According to him, it was not necessary for, according to him means according to Papa, it was not necessary for anybody to externally renounce anything, though he really believed that a high standard of renunciation is necessary before one can reach the supreme goal. However, in gatherings, he used to tell what was required was internal renunciation, and one should reach God by remaining at home without changing the occupation, position, status, and did not emphasize the need for external renunciation. After hearing him for some time, I asked him once why he was telling that it was possible for everybody to reach God while remaining at home. He told me, Ramdas will show you tomorrow. He will talk about the highest renunciation. See what happens. So Papa was very, happy, very happy mood, and smilingly, he must have told, you can even realize how Papa must have told Swami Sachidananda. Especially when he says, Ramdas will show you tomorrow. He will talk about the highest renunciation. See what happens. The next day, in the gathering, he started talking about the need for external renunciation. Not only the need, but he considered external renunciation an absolute necessity for realizing God. He said that spiritual life is not a joke. You have to give up everything, physically and mentally. You cannot have him for nothing. So next day in the gathering, he started talking about the need for external renunciation. Not only the need, but he considered external renunciation an absolute necessity for realizing God. Oh, sorry. Right. So he said that spiritual life is not a joke. You have to give up everything, physically and mentally. You cannot have him for nothing. When he went on talking in that strain, some of the devotees who were very eagerly listening to him gradually stepped back. That is, they showed that they were not interested in listening to him. After some time, a few of them got up and left the place. Seeing this, Papa winked at me, that is at Sachidanandji, meaning that people are not pleased to hear about the highest renunciation. And very surely it does not, it applies to me very particularly with me. Afterwards, when the meeting was over, he told me, see what happened when Ramdas talked about external renunciation? People are not prepared for that. That is why Ramdas tells them that until they are prepared to take the leap, they can stay at home and practice sadhana. Let us underline some of these words, and practice sadhana. But a day will come when they will be taken out of their household and made to remain in solitude for some time at least. Not that they should be wandering all their lives in search of God, but at least for some time they need a solitary life for intense sadhana. I'm sure now that I have read this portion of it, uh, uh, at least that the aim of all human life, according to Papa, is to go to that stage where you renounce everything, and until and unless you do that, we are all stuck in this world of births and rebirth and rebirth and rebirth. So that is exactly what it is. And in this light, I was very confused when I was reading these. And later on, I said, there is no point in my unnecessarily getting worked up. Let Papa do his job and we will do our job. A book has been published on the Golden Jubilee of Papa, so Sannyas Day, the 100th year actually. And for 1 year, that is from last to last December to this December, for 1 year, every day, Swamiji Muktanandji used to talk to people and ask them and go through chapter by chapter and let us know what is the aim of Papa. What is the aim of Papa in writing this book? The whole thing starts with that. Every one of us, I'm sure, have read Papa's In Quest of God, and we, instead of looking at Yatak Baraduru, why did he write this? Did he want fame because he has shown that he went out and he did this, he did that, he did not eat, he did not do that? Is it that was the aim? Or he wanted us to show himself as a great personality? Every one of us has read it, and every time we have appreciated Papa. And Swami Muktanandji normally would come out and openly and say, "You don't, there is no point in your appreciating Papa, what he did, what he did not do. That is not the aim. If you do that, then you are not achieving nothing." So the question came up as to why did he write this? Then Swamiji said, Muktanandji, he said what he said was that ಯಾಕೆ ಬರೆದ್ರು ಅನ್ನೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಕಾರಣ ಏನು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ he wanted us to read what he has written and try to see what does Papa want us to do. See, his aim was to take us to the same state that he was in. Got some message, so I got a bit confused. Huh? ಇಲ್ವಲ್ಲ ಕಾಣ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ.
ಇಲ್ಲ, it was me. I'm in now. It's okay. Continue.
Okay. Now, okay. Right. Now, let us go a little further and then we will see what it is. So, as I said, ಪಪ್ಪನವರು ಈ ಪುಸ್ತಕ ಬರೆದಿದ್ದು ಅವರ ಅನುಭವನ ಎರಡು ಮೀನಿಂಗ್. ನಾವು ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಓದುವಾಗ ನಮಗೆ ಆ ಪಪ್ಪನವರು ಅವರ ಅರ್ಥನ ಬರೆಯೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಅವ್ರು ಏನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ಅಂತ ಬರೆದ್ರು. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ವಿ ಗೆಟ್ ಅನ್ ಐಡಿಯಾ ಆಫ್ ವಾಟ್ ಹಿ ಡಿಡ್ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಒಂದು. And we all got carried away by trying to praise Papa, that he went through so much problems, he went through all that, he was without food, if somebody came and gave him food, He treated everybody as Ram. All this was very nice, very well done. But surely that is not the reason why he wrote it. Yakendre, he did not want any fame or anything for himself. No credits to be given to him, nothing whatsoever. It is just to give to give us an idea that this process is there, which has to be followed one day or the other by every individual. So in that, and then another thing which happened was, every time a new person went, or when somebody went to Mataji used to write, ಅವರು ಏನ್ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, I wanted you all to read the inquest of God 11 times so that your mind would turn within. Please underline these words, that your mind would turn within into Nirguna Brahman. There is a special reason for Papa making me ask you to read Inquest of God daily for 11 days. It is intended to take you within. You may not attain Papa within you on the 11th reading, but you will at least have started going within. Please underline. At least by reading this 11 times, you will at least have started going within, which is the first step that we all must be aspiring to do. It is like entering the ashram gates. Once you are within the gates, you have nothing to fear. Likewise, once you turn your gaze within, you have nothing to worry. So these 2 points, one is that why Papa wrote this, and then Mataji asking us to read it 11 times, it made at least Muktanandaji to start thinking and to put it into our mind that we have to read this book to understand basically why did Papa write this. There must be some message that he is trying to give us. That is the gist of this reading 11 times and reading this book. It is to understand that portion, that we have what message in each chapter Papa is trying to give. ಈ ಮಟ್ಟದಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು ಚಾಪ್ಟರ್ ಅನ್ನು ಅವರು ಈ 1 ವರ್ಷ 1 year he went through every chapter by chapter, and there were a lot of people who came out with some things which they taught, and they were all taken into view and they were assessed and reassessed, and finally they said what is to be done has been ಒಂದು ರೀತಿಯಾದ we got some answer to the question that why did Papa write this book. In this, I will read this when I get the next chance. I don't know when it will be, but we will read it from the beginning again. And with this background, let me just first read something, and then what is the message that he is giving, we will see that also. Now he starts off with, O Ram, the truth, the love, the goal of human perfection. All hail, all hail. It was about 2 years ago, in 1920, that Ram first kindled in the heart of this humble slave, Ramdas, a keen desire to realize his infinite love. This is Papa's Inquest of God, what he has written in Inquest of God. To strive to approach and understand Ram is to recede from the world of vanishing forms, because Ram is the only truth, the only reality. Ram is a subtle and mysterious power that pervades and sustains the whole universe. Birthless and deathless is he. He is present in all things and in all creatures, who only appear as separate entities due to their ever-changing forms. To wake up from this illusion of forms is to realize at once the unity or love of Ram, Love of Ram means love of all beings, all creatures, all things in this world, because Ram is in one and all in one Ram. And Ram is all in all. To realize this great truth, we who through ignorance feel as separate individuals should submit ourselves to the will and working of that infinite power, that infinite love, Ram, who is one and all pervading. By a complete surrender to the will of Ram, we lose consciousness of the body, which keeps us aloof from Him, and find ourselves in a state of complete identification and union with Ram, who is in us and everywhere around us. In this condition, hatred, which means consciousness or diversity of ceases, and love consciousness of unity is realized. This divine love can be attained by humbling ourselves to such a degree as to totally subdue our egoism, our self assertion as a separate individual existence. Having reached this stage, we, by the awakened consciousness of unity or love, are naturally prompted to sacrifice all the interests that concern the body for the welfare of our fellow men and fellow creatures who are all manifestations of the same Ram. This was the great sacrifice of Buddha, of Jesus Christ, and has been of Mahatma Gandhi in our own times. These three great men are the fullest manifestations of Ram, the great truth, the infinite love of Sri Ram. Now, having read this, now let us see what the untiring disciples of Papa have come out with, and what is uh, what is Papa trying to tell us? Let's see that. The first and foremost clarity as aspirants need while in quest of God is to have the right concept of God, addressed by beloved Papa as Ram. This can be gained from this article. Ram stands for truth, that which always remains, love, absence of otherness, the goal of human perfection, a state of completeness, flawlessness, or supreme excellence. The subtle and mysterious power, the creative force, the sustaining power, that which motivates towards constant change, overall intelligence, goodness, kindness, beauty, the ever present, all pervading essence of spirit, which binds everything in the universe together and gives life to everything. Now, if you look at all this, it's not simple. It looks, well, reading, it looks so simple. But when we go deeper into this and start asking, why did Papa write this? This is exactly what he wanted us to do. Self effacement. Beloved Pampa emphatically states that the above can be well understood by humbling ourselves to such a degree as to totally subdue our egoism or self assertion as a separate individual existence. So, what we hear from various masters, various books, various Puranas, various Upanishads, all that amounts to this thing which Papa has put it in a different way. It is given it a different color. Then we keep on going into this, and then we will reach, see what happens afterwards when we finish reading this book. Now, this is to the preface itself, this is the question. By reading the first portion, this is all that has come out from there, that this is what he want us to do. This is the inner meaning of everything. So I think that it clarifies our doubts as to why Papa wrote this book and what was his intention and why he did not make it complicated but made it simple to read and with so much meaning within it. I don't know if I have been able to bring out what Papa wanted us to do and what is happening in the ashram, what was happening all this time in the ashram, and this book which is published right now. There is the first part of every chapter. What Papa has written is given as it is, as in the Inquest of God. ಅದು ಇನ್ಕ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಗಾಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಿದೆ ಅದನ್ನೇ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಬರೀತಾರೆ. ಅದು ಬರೆದ ಮೇಲೆ ವಾಟ್ ಆರ್ ದಿ ಹಿಂಟ್ಸ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ದ ಟೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್, ವಾಟ್ ಶುಡ್ ವಿ ಟ್ರೈ ಟು ಗೆಟ್ ಔಟ್ ಆಫ್ ದಟ್ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನ ಬೈ ದಿ ಬೈ ದಿ ಎಫರ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ various disciples of Papa who have read this book in that light and have come out with so much points. Let us hope that we will gain from their these things. And from next time onwards, whenever I get a chance, I will only read from here, because there is no end to this advice and expectations of Papa. I hope I have not been, I hope that I have been able to explain as I see what Papa wants us to do. Things are not hanky-dory as we think, that if we would just do some things, it is enough. In a way, yes, all of us are bound by our own various problems, our own limitations, our own misunderstanding, our own intelligence that he gives us once in a way to do this, to do that, to don't know, do this, do not do this and whatnot. But it's a very uphill task, and let's hope that we will be able to reach the limits which Papa wants us to do. First, he says that we have to get out of the external, and then you get in. When you look inside ourselves, then things will be easier for us to see what Papa wants, and we can try to do that at that time. As I said, this book, which is title is Signposts and Milestones, and a study guide for Swami Ramdas in Quest of God. Try to get this book, read it, or whenever I get a time, I will try to talk to us and read this through ourselves and try to understand, because I am also one of those who has to understand this more than anybody else. Now let's go to chapter 1, because I seem there is some time still. And chapter 1, Struggle and Initiation. This is the first chapter of In Quest of God. I don't know, first time I will read this, but whether we want to go through that, or next time when I get a chance, I will tell you, and then you can read this, and then we can go straight away to the hints from the text. Struggle and Initiation. For nearly a year, Ramdas struggled on in a world full of cares, anxieties, and pains. It was a period of terrible stress and restlessness, all of his own making. In this utterly helpless condition, full of misery, where is relief? Where is rest? This was the heart's cry of Ramdas. Where is relief? Where is rest? This was the heart's cry of Ramdas. The cry was heard, and from the great void came the voice, "Despair not, trust me, and thou shalt be free." This was the voice of Ram. Now, we have to now think of what Papa says about Ram, and what does Ram stand for. We'll have to go through that. When he talks about from the great void, that is Akasha in Sanskrit. That is the whole, everything is enveloped by Akasha. Everything is in Akasha. And therefore, he got that voice from there, and he said to just to give him some amount of relief and to tell him that yes, you are on the right path. He got this answer, and these encouraging words of Ram proved like a plank thrown towards a man struggling for very life in the stormy waves of a raging sea. The great assurance soothed the aching heart of helpless Ramdas like gentle rain on thirsting